I found my late wife's storage locker key taped inside her journal. The facility manager pulled me aside and whispered, "Sir, whatever's in Unit 247, you need to see it alone first." What I discovered inside shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. My name is Richard Pemberton, and at 68 years old, I thought I'd seen enough of life to not be surprised anymore. I was wrong. My wife Catherine passed away 4 months ago. The doctors called it a stroke, sudden, painless. She went to sleep and never woke up. We'd been married for 42 years, raised 3 children together in our home just outside Calgary. Catherine was a financial auditor for one of the big energy companies downtown. Meticulous, detail-oriented, the kind of person who color-coded her closet and never missed a single appointment. After she died, I did what most widowers do. I tried to keep busy. I sorted through her things slowly, unable to part with most of it. Her reading glasses still sat on the nightstand. Her coffee mug still hung on the same hook in the kitchen. Some mornings I'd catch myself setting out 2 plates for breakfast before remembering. It was a Tuesday afternoon in late October when I found the key. I was going through Catherine's personal journals. She'd kept them religiously for over 30 years. I wasn't reading them, just organizing them by date, when a small brass key fell from between the pages of her final journal. Taped to the key was a sticky note in Catherine's handwriting. "If something happens to me, this is important. Go alone. Trust no one until you understand." My hands trembled as I read those words. Trust no one? Catherine had never been dramatic or paranoid. This wasn't like her at all. The key had a number stamped on it, 247, and an address label, Deerfoot Storage Solutions, Unit 247. I knew the place it was, about 20 minutes from our house, off Barlow Trail, but I had no idea Catherine rented a storage unit. We'd never discussed it. We'd always been open about our finances, our lives. Why would she need a secret storage unit? I called the number on the label that evening. A man answered, voice gruff. "Deerfoot Storage? This is Warren." "Hello, my name is Richard Pemberton. My wife Catherine rented a unit there 247. She passed away recently, and I found the key." There was a pause on the line. "Catherine Pemberton?" "Yes." Another pause, longer this time. "Sir, I need to see identification when you come. Can you be here tomorrow? Around 9 a.m., before we get busy?" "Of course. But just come alone, Mr. Pemberton. Your wife. She asked me to tell you that if you ever came looking, come alone first." The line went dead. I barely slept that night. What was in that unit? Why all the secrecy? My mind spun through possibilities, each more disturbing than the last. Had Catherine been having an affair? Was she sick and hiding medical records? Had she been in some kind of trouble? The next morning, I drove to Deerfoot Storage Solutions. It was one of those sprawling facilities with hundreds of orange roll-up doors stretching in neat rows. The office was a small portable building at the front entrance. Warren was waiting for me. He was in his mid-50s, weathered face, oil-stained work shirt. He checked my driver's license carefully, comparing my face to the photo twice. "Mr. Pemberton," he said quietly, "your wife paid for that unit through 2027. Paid in cash, always. She'd come by every 2 weeks, like clockwork, spend an hour or 2 inside, never asked for help, never made small talk." "Did she ever mention what she was storing?" Warren shook his head. "No, sir. But about 6 months ago, she gave me an envelope. Said if anything ever happened to her and someone came looking, I should give them this after they saw the unit first." He handed me a sealed manila envelope with my name written across it in Catherine's handwriting. "You need to see what's inside first," Warren said. "That's what she made me promise. See it first, then read the letter. I'll take you there." He led me through the maze of units. We walked in silence, my heart pounding harder with each step. Unit 247 was in the back corner, away from the main traffic areas. Warren unlocked the door and rolled it up. The interior was dark. He flipped on a light switch. "I'll wait by the office," he said. "Take your time, Mr. Pemberton. And sir, I'm sorry for your loss." I stepped inside. The unit was roughly 10 by 15 feet. Against one wall was a desk with a laptop, a printer, and several filing cabinets. Against the opposite wall were cork boards covered in photographs, documents, and colored string connecting various items like something from a detective movie. I moved closer to the cork boards. My breath caught in my throat. There were photographs of our 3 children, Michael, 44, Sarah, 41, and Jennifer, 38. But these weren't family photos. These were surveillance-style images. Michael getting into a car with a man I didn't recognize. Sarah at a restaurant with the same man. Jennifer in what looked like an office building, handing the same man a folder. Above the photos, Catherine had written, "Started noticing irregular transactions, October 2023. I felt dizzy. What transactions? What was she investigating? I opened the first filing cabinet. Inside were hundreds of pages of financial documents, bank statements, transaction records, corporate filings. Catherine had highlighted sections in yellow, made notes in the margins. As I read, a picture began to emerge that turned my blood cold. Catherine had been investigating a massive financial fraud scheme. But it wasn't just any scheme. Our children, my children, were involved. According to her documentation, it had started 2 years ago. Michael, who worked as a commercial real estate developer, had partnered with a man named Gregory Thornhill to flip properties across Alberta. But they weren't just flipping properties. They were using a complex network of shell companies to inflate property values, secure fraudulent loans, and pocket the difference. Sarah, who was a loan officer at Western Canadian Bank, was approving these fraudulent loan applications. She was falsifying income documents, creating fake employment records, pushing through loans that should never have been approved. Jennifer, who worked as a paralegal at a downtown law firm, was creating the legal paperwork to legitimize the shell companies and property transfers. Together, they'd orchestrated a fraud scheme worth over $18 million. And at the center of it all was Gregory Thornhill, a man I'd never heard of until 5 minutes ago. I sat down heavily in the desk chair, my legs unable to support me. My children, my own children. Catherine had documented everything, transaction by transaction, meeting by meeting, lie by lie. The detail was staggering. She must have spent hundreds of hours building this case. I opened the laptop. It powered on immediately. She'd left it unlocked. The desktop was organized into folders: evidence, timeline, communications, legal options. I clicked on communications. It was an archive of encrypted messages Catherine had intercepted or obtained somehow. Messages between Michael, Sarah, Jennifer, and Thornhill discussing the fraud, dividing profits, planning their next properties. One message from Michael, dated 6 months before Catherine's death, made me feel physically ill. Dad's starting to ask questions about my income. Need to be more careful. Maybe time to talk to him about that investment opportunity we discussed. Get him to move his retirement funds into one of our companies. Would solve 2 problems, shut him up, and give us access to another 2. 4M. They'd been planning to defraud me too. Their own father. I don't know how long I sat there, reading through file after file. Hours, maybe. The sun had shifted by the time I remembered the envelope Warren had given me. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a letter, 4 pages in Catherine's neat handwriting. My dearest Richard, if you're reading this, then I'm gone, and you've found my investigation. I'm so sorry you had to discover this alone. I'm sorry I never told you while I was alive. I found the first irregularities 14 months ago, purely by accident. I was reviewing some audit documents for work, and I recognized Michael's signature on a loan application that seemed suspicious. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Our Michael wouldn't commit fraud, but I couldn't let it go. I started looking deeper. The more I found, the worse it became. When I realized Sarah and Jennifer were involved too, I felt like my world was ending. These children we raised, who we taught right from wrong, who we sent to university and supported through everything, they'd become criminals. I wanted to tell you immediately, but Richard, I knew what you'd do. You'd confront them, demand explanations, give them a chance to explain, and they would have lied to you. They would have destroyed the evidence and gotten away with it. I couldn't let that happen. I also knew this would destroy you. The 3 of them are your pride and joy. The thought of them in prison would kill you. So I made a decision I would gather irrefutable evidence, contact the authorities myself, and take the emotional burden alone. I would be the one to turn them in, so you wouldn't have to carry that guilt. I contacted a friend at the RCMP Financial Crimes Unit in March, Detective Sarah Jane Morrison. I've been working with her, providing evidence, building a case that will stand up in court. We're close, Richard, so close. If you're reading this before charges are filed, contact Detective Morrison immediately. Her direct number is 403-555-7923. Give her access to everything in this unit. The evidence here can take down not just our children, but Thornhill and his entire network. I know you're hurt. I know you feel betrayed. But Richard, remember this. You did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong. We raised them with values and love. They made their own choices. Adult children are responsible for their own decisions. Whatever happens next, please take care of yourself. See your doctor regularly. I know you skip appointments. Spend time with old friends. Maybe adopt that dog you always wanted, but I wouldn't let you get because of my allergies. And Richard, if there's one thing I want you to understand from all of this, loving someone doesn't mean protecting them from the consequences of their actions. Real love sometimes means letting them face those consequences so they have a chance to become better people. I love you. I've loved you since the day we met at that ridiculous office party in 1982. You've been my best friend, my partner, my home. Thank you for 42 beautiful years. Take care of yourself, my love. Forever yours, Catherine. P.S. I changed my life insurance policy 6 months ago. The new one pays double for accidental death. I also updated our will without telling you. Everything goes into a trust that they can't access until they turn 55, and only if they have no criminal record. I know you'll think I was being paranoid, but I needed to protect you and our assets in case they tried something desperate. I read the letter 3 times. Each time, the words felt more surreal. Catherine had known. She'd been protecting me, building a case, working with police, and that last part changing her insurance policy, updating the will, protecting assets in case they tried something desperate. A horrible thought crept into my mind. Catherine died of a stroke in her sleep. Sudden, unexpected, no warning signs. At 65 years old, relatively healthy, no history of cardiovascular issues. I looked back at the cork boards. In the corner was a section labeled Timeline Final Months. Catherine had documented increased pressure from Thornhill. He'd figured out someone was investigating. There were printed emails showing Thornhill making veiled threats, photos of a black SUV that had been following her. The final entry on the timeline was dated 2 days before Catherine's death. Thornhill knows. Accelerating police timeline. Meeting with Morrison tomorrow to finalize charges. But Catherine never made it to that meeting. She died the night before. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and called the number Catherine had written down. It rang 4 times. Detective Morrison, Financial Crimes. Detective Morrison. My name is Richard Pemberton. My wife Catherine. Mr. Pemberton. Her voice changed immediately, softened. I've been hoping you'd call. I'm so deeply sorry for your loss. Catherine was. She was incredibly brave. How much do you know? I found her storage unit. I've read some of the files. Detective, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Was my wife murdered? There was a long pause. Mr. Pemberton, officially, the medical examiner ruled her death as natural causes, a stroke. But Catherine called me 2 days before she died. She said she believed Gregory Thornhill had become aware of our investigation. She asked me to note it in our case file, in case anything happened to her. And after she died, we requested an autopsy review, but her body had already been cremated per the wishes expressed in her advance directive. Without remains to examine, we couldn't investigate further. But Mr. Pemberton, I need you to know, we never stopped building the case. Catherine gave us enough to proceed. We've been waiting for the right moment to strike. When? Soon. Very soon. But Mr. Pemberton, I need to know, do you have access to all of Catherine's evidence? The storage unit? Yes. I'm here now. I need you to leave immediately and go somewhere public. A coffee shop, a mall, anywhere with people and cameras. Do not go home. Call me when you're somewhere safe, and I'll come to you. Why? What's wrong? Sir, if Catherine told you about the storage unit, then she wanted you to know the truth. But Gregory Thornhill and your children don't know you've found it yet. The moment they realize you have Catherine's evidence, you become a threat. Please, Mr. Pemberton, leave now. I hung up and gathered as many files as I could carry. My heart was pounding. I turned off the light, locked the unit, and walked quickly back to my car. As I reached the parking lot, I noticed a black SUV parked near the exit. The windows were tinted. I couldn't see inside. I got in my car, started the engine, and drove out of the facility. The SUV didn't follow. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe the grief and shock were making me see threats everywhere. I drove to a Tim Hortons in Mackenzie Lake, choosing one with lots of windows and customers. I sat in a corner booth where I could see the entrance and called Detective Morrison back. She arrived 30 minutes later with another officer. They sat across from me, and I handed over the files I'd brought. "Mr. Pemberton," Detective Morrison said, "we need to move quickly now. I'm going to be direct with you. In the next 72 hours, we're executing search warrants on Gregory Thornhill's properties, his business offices, and your children's homes. We'll be making arrests. I wanted you to hear this from me first, not from the news. All three of them?" My voice cracked. "All three of my children are going to be arrested?" Based on the evidence Catherine provided, yes. Michael and Thornhill face the most serious charges: fraud over $5,000, money laundering, conspiracy. Sarah faces bank fraud and falsifying documents. Jennifer's charges are somewhat lesser, but still serious. How long, if they're convicted, how long would they be in prison? That's up to the courts and their legal representation. But we're talking years, not months. Michael and Thornhill could each face 10 to 15 years, if convicted on all counts. I put my head in my hands. My children, my babies. I'd taught Michael to ride a bike. I'd walked Sarah down the aisle at her wedding. I'd helped Jennifer study for her bar admission exams. "There's something else you need to know," Detective Morrison continued. "About 3 weeks ago, Michael contacted a lawyer about having you declared mentally incompetent. He claimed you were showing signs of dementia, that you were making poor financial decisions, and that you needed a guardian appointed." I looked up sharply. "What?" "The lawyer they contacted specializes in elder law and guardianship. If they'd succeeded, they would have had legal control over your assets and medical decisions. We believe this was their backup plan, in case the fraud started to unravel, seize control of your assets before charges could be filed." The coffee in my stomach turned sour. They were going to have me declared incompetent? Catherine found out about it. It's in her files. That's actually what prompted her to change her will and insurance policy. She knew they were getting desperate. Did they? I couldn't finish the sentence. Detective Morrison met my eyes. "Did they kill her?" "Mr. Pemberton, I can't prove it, but I believe Catherine's instincts were correct. I believe she was in danger, and I believe her death was not natural. But, without evidence, without remains to examine, we can't pursue that angle. What I can do is make sure her final work exposing this fraud results in justice." I nodded slowly. "What do you need from me? Right now, stay safe. Don't contact your children. Don't tell anyone what you know. When we execute the warrants, you'll likely receive calls from them, asking for help, asking for money for lawyers. You need to decide now how you'll handle that. I don't know what I'll say." "That's fair. But Mr. Pemberton, I want you to understand something. Catherine spent the last year of her life building this case because she believed in justice. She believed that even though these were her children, they needed to face consequences. She loved them, but she loved what was right even more. I think she hoped that prison time might eventually help them become better people. I think she hoped they might understand what they'd done, someday, and feel real remorse." I thought about Catherine's letter. Real love sometimes means letting them face consequences. "When will you arrest them?" "Friday morning. Tomorrow we secure the warrants. Friday at dawn, we hit all locations simultaneously. Tomorrow was Thursday. I had one more day before my children's lives imploded. That evening, I went home. The house felt emptier than ever. I sat in Catherine's favorite chair and looked through more of her files. She documented everything with such care. Not just the fraud, but notes about our children's lives. Small observations that broke my heart. Michael seemed stressed at dinner tonight. Snapped at his wife over nothing. The money isn't bringing him happiness. Sarah called, asked to borrow $10,000. Said it was for home renovations. I checked she just bought a new BMW. The lying is getting easier for her. Jennifer admitted she hasn't spoken to her brother in months. They're fighting over money splits. The greed is destroying their relationships with each other. Catherine had watched our children deteriorate, had seen the fraud corrupt them from the inside out, and she'd carried that pain alone. I thought about calling them, warning them, giving them a chance to turn themselves in, maybe get lesser sentences. But I knew what Catherine would say. She'd say that warning them would just give them time to destroy evidence, flee, or hurt more people. She'd say that mercy without accountability isn't mercy at all. So I didn't call. Friday morning, my phone started ringing at 6:47 a.m. Michael, I let it go to voicemail. Another call. Sarah. Voicemail. Jennifer. Voicemail. A text from Michael. Dad, police are at my house with a warrant. What's happening? Call me now. Another from Sarah. Dad, the RCMP are here. They're searching everything. They mentioned Mom's name. What did she tell them? Call me. Jennifer. Dad, please pick up. I'm being arrested. They say Mom was investigating us. I don't understand. Please help. I turned off my phone. Detective Morrison had told me I could come to the station if I wanted to watch the arrest processing from a private room. I declined. I couldn't watch my children being fingerprinted and photographed like criminals. Instead, I went to the cemetery where Catherine's ashes were interred. I sat on the bench next to her memorial plaque and talked to her like I had every week since she'd died. I found it, I said quietly. Your storage unit, your investigation. Catherine, I'm so sorry you had to carry this alone. I'm sorry I didn't see what was happening. I'm sorry I wasn't there to protect you. The wind rustled through the autumn leaves. The morning was cold, frost still on the ground. They're being arrested right now, I continued. Our babies. Our 3 children. And you were right, Catherine. About everything. They did become criminals. They were planning to steal from me too. They might have. They might have hurt you. I felt tears on my cheeks for the first time since her funeral. I'd been numb for months, going through the motions. But sitting here, talking to her memorial, the dam finally broke. I don't know how to do this without you, I whispered. I don't know how to watch our children go to prison. I don't know how to forgive them for what they did to you, to me, to all those people they defrauded. A woman's voice spoke behind me. Mr. Pemberton? I turned. Detective Morrison stood a respectful distance away. I'm sorry to interrupt, she said. All 3 are in custody. Thornhill, too. The searches recovered additional evidence. We found communications showing they'd been surveilling Catherine in the weeks before her death. We found records of a cash payment Thornhill made to someone 2 days before she died. We don't know who yet, but we're investigating. You think he hired someone? It's a strong possibility. We're pursuing every lead, Mr. Pemberton. I made a promise to your wife that I would see this through. I'm not stopping until we know exactly what happened to her. I nodded. Thank you. Your children are asking to see you. All 3. They're being held in separate cells, but they've all asked if you'll come down to the station. What would I say to them? That's entirely up to you, sir. You don't owe them anything, but if you do want to see them, now might be your only chance before they're formally charged and assigned lawyers who won't let them talk. I thought about it for a long moment. Did I want to see them? Did I want to hear their excuses, their justifications? Yes, I did. Not for them, but for me. I needed to look them in the eyes and understand how my children Catherine and I had raised with love and values, had become people capable of fraud and possibly murder. I'll come, I said. At the RCMP station, Detective Morrison led me to a private interview room. I'll bring them in one at a time. You don't have to stay for all 3 if it becomes too much. Just say the word and we stop. Michael came first. He looked terrible, unshaven, still in the clothes he'd been sleeping in when they arrested him. At 44, he'd always been handsome, successful, the golden child. Now he just looked scared. He sat down across from me. Dad, thank God. You have to help me. This is all a misunderstanding. Mom was confused. She misunderstood some legitimate business transactions. Stop, I said quietly. He blinked. What? Stop lying. I've seen everything. Your mother documented everything, Michael. The shell companies, the fraudulent loans, the fake documents. I know about every property, every transaction, every dollar you stole. His face went pale. Dad, I can explain. Can you explain why you wanted to have me declared mentally incompetent? Can you explain why you were planning to steal my retirement savings? Michael's mouth opened, but no words came out. Your mother spent the last year of her life investigating you, I continued. She did it alone because she knew it would destroy me. She carried that pain by herself to protect me. And you know what I think, Michael? I think when you found out what she was doing, you had her killed. No. Michael stood up so fast his chair fell backward. Dad, no. I would never. We didn't know she was investigating until the police told us this morning. But you knew something was wrong. You knew she'd been asking questions. And Gregory Thornhill knew. Didn't he tell you she was becoming a problem? Michael's face crumpled. Dad, please. I made mistakes, okay? The business got out of control. But I never would have hurt Mom. Never. You have to believe me. I don't have to believe anything. Not anymore. I stood up. Your mother loved you until the day she died. Even knowing what you'd become, she still loved you. But she loved truth and justice more. And so do I. I walked out while Michael was crying. Sarah was next. She was already crying when they brought her in. Mascara streaked down her face. Daddy, she sobbed. Daddy, please. This is all Michael's fault. He dragged me into this. I just approved a few loans. I didn't know they were fraudulent. Sarah, I've read your communications. You absolutely knew. You created fake employment records. You falsified income statements. You weren't a victim. You were a co-conspirator. But Daddy, I didn't have a choice. Michael said, if I didn't help, the whole thing would collapse, and we'd all lose everything. You could have said no. You could have reported it. You could have told me or your mother. Mom. Sarah's face twisted. Did Mom really know this whole time? She knew for over a year. She was working with police to build a case against you. Against us? Her own children? Against criminals. It just happened that those criminals were her children. Sarah looked stunned. Then her expression hardened. You're actually going to let them prosecute us? Your own kids? What kind of father does that? The kind who raised you to know right from wrong. You made your choices, Sarah. Now you face the consequences. Jennifer was the youngest. At 38, she'd always been the most sensitive, the peacemaker of the family. She looked broken when they brought her in. Dad, she whispered, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. At least she wasn't making excuses. Why did you do it, Jennifer? She was quiet for a long time. At first, it seemed harmless. Michael said it was just creative business structuring. Lots of companies did it. And the money was so good, Dad. Sarah and I were splitting $10,000 a month each just for small tasks. It felt like easy money. And when you realized it was fraud, by then I was in too deep. I'd already created dozens of shell companies. I'd already signed documents I knew were questionable. If I stopped or told anyone, I'd go to jail anyway. So I kept going. I kept thinking maybe we'd make enough money and then stop. Get out before anyone noticed. But your mother noticed. Jennifer nodded, tears flowing freely. I didn't know. I swear, Dad. If I'd known Mom was investigating, I would have stopped. I would have turned myself in. I would never have let anything happen to her. Do you think Michael or Gregory Thornhill had her killed? Jennifer looked up sharply. Killed? Mom died of a stroke. Your mother was a healthy 65-year-old woman. She died the night before she was supposed to meet with police to finalize charges. Gregory Thornhill knew she was investigating. What do you think happened, Jennifer? Her face went white. Oh my God. Oh my God. You think they... No. No, Michael wouldn't. He's our brother. He's not a killer. He's a criminal who is about to lose everything. People like that are capable of anything. Jennifer put her head down on the table and sobbed. What have we done? What have we done? I left without saying goodbye. The trial took 14 months to reach court. Michael and Gregory Thornhill fought the charges with expensive lawyers, delay tactics, and motion after motion. Sarah initially tried to fight, then accepted a plea deal. Jennifer pleaded guilty immediately and cooperated with prosecutors. I attended every day of Michael's trial. I wanted him to see me there, watching. I wanted him to know that I knew everything. The evidence was overwhelming. Catherine's documentation, combined with additional evidence seized from computers and offices, painted a damning picture. The prosecutor called Catherine a hero who gave her life pursuing justice. When they asked me to testify, I told the truth. About finding the storage unit, about Catherine's letter, about my children's plans to defraud me and have me declared incompetent. Michael was convicted on all counts. He received 12 years in federal prison. Gregory Thornhill got 15 years. Sarah's plea deal got her 4 years. Jennifer's cooperation and genuine remorse got her 2 years plus probation. During sentencing, the judge addressed my children directly. You betrayed your family, your community, and the public trust. You exploited your positions and your relationships for personal gain. And when your own mother tried to stop you, her investigation may have cost her life. While we cannot prove murder, the evidence suggests she died because of the very crimes you're being sentenced for today. That blood is on your hands." After sentencing, Jennifer asked if she could speak to me. We met in a private room at the courthouse, with her lawyer present. "Dad," she said quietly, "I know you'll probably never forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know I've thought every single day about Mom, about what she must have felt investigating us, the pain she must have carried. And I'm so sorry. Not just that I got caught. I'm sorry for what we did, for who we became." I looked at my youngest daughter. She looked so much like Catherine, same eyes, same cheekbones. "Your mother's letter said something I've been thinking about a lot," I told her. She said real love sometimes means letting people face consequences so they have a chance to become better people. "Jennifer, I do love you. I love all three of you, but I can't forgive you yet. Maybe someday, but not yet. I understand. But," I continued, "when you get out in 2 years, if you've truly changed, if you've done the work to become someone your mother would be proud of, my door isn't closed forever. It's just closed for now." Jennifer started crying. Thank you, Dad." Michael and Sarah never asked to see me. Through the prison grapevine, I heard Michael still insisted he'd done nothing truly wrong, that he'd been unfairly prosecuted. Sarah blamed everyone but herself. But Jennifer, I received letters from her every month. She was taking courses in prison, working with a therapist, teaching other inmates to read. She talked about Mom, about understanding now what she'd thrown away. 3 years after the arrests, Detective Morrison called me. "Mr. Pemberton, we've made an arrest in your wife's case." My heart stopped. "What?" "Gregory Thornhill's former driver. He approached us 6 months ago through a lawyer, wanting to make a deal. He'd been paid $15,000 to tamper with Catherine's medication. He didn't know what the medication was or what it would do. He just followed instructions: break into the house while you were asleep, switch her blood pressure pills with pills Thornhill provided, and leave. He murdered her? The pills Thornhill gave him were filled with a drug that causes strokes in high doses. It mimicked natural death perfectly. Catherine never knew. But the driver kept the original pill bottle. He'd gotten scared afterward, kept it as insurance. That bottle has Thornhill's fingerprints on it." I sat down heavily. "So it was murder. It was definitely murder." "Yes, sir. Thornhill orchestrated it. He's being charged with first-degree murder. Even with his current sentence, he'll never see freedom again. And Mr. Pemberton, I know this doesn't bring Catherine back, but she gets justice now. Complete justice." After I hung up, I drove to the cemetery again. I sat by Catherine's memorial and told her everything. "They got him," I said. "They got the man who killed you. You were right about everything, my love. You were so right." The wind rustled the leaves. Summer had turned to fall again, then winter, then spring. The seasons kept changing, and I kept living without her. Jennifer asked if I'd come to her prison graduation, I said. "She's getting a certificate in business ethics. She says she wants to work in financial fraud prevention when she gets out, helping people spot the warning signs she ignored. She says she wants to make you proud." I traced Catherine's name on the memorial plaque. I told her I'd think about it. "Is that okay? Am I allowed to start forgiving her, even a little? Or is that betraying you?" No answer came, but I thought I knew what Catherine would say. She'd say that forgiveness isn't betrayal. She'd say that Jennifer is showing real change, real remorse, and that deserves acknowledgement. So I wrote back to Jennifer and told her I'd attend her graduation. It took 4 years, but I went to visit her in prison. We sat across from each other at a table in the visitor's room, and for the first time since her arrest, I reached across and held my daughter's hand. "Mom would be proud of what you're doing," I told her. Jennifer started crying. "You think so?" "I know so. She wanted you to become better people. You're doing that, Jennifer. You're actually doing that. I miss her so much, Dad. I miss her every single day. I would give anything to tell her I'm sorry." "She knows," I said. "Somehow, I think she knows. I'm 72 now. 4 years have passed since that terrible Friday morning when my children were arrested. Michael is still in prison, still bitter, still insisting he's a victim. Sarah gets out in 6 months, and I don't know if I'll see her. She hasn't written, hasn't called. But Jennifer was released 2 months ago. She moved into a small apartment in Edmonton and got a job at a nonprofit that helps fraud victims recover their losses. She calls me every Sunday. We have dinner once a month. We're rebuilding, slowly. She asked if she could have one of Catherine's journals. I gave her the one with the sticky note, the one that started all of this. I want to remember what Mom did, Jennifer said. I want to remember that she loved truth more than comfort, that she chose what was right, even when it was hard, even when it hurt. Your mother was the bravest person I ever knew, I told her. I wish I'd known while she was alive, Jennifer said quietly. I wish I'd seen what she was really made of before it was too late. Last month, on the anniversary of Catherine's death, Jennifer and I went to the cemetery together. We sat on the bench, and Jennifer read from her mother's journal. I know my children are capable of better, Catherine had written. I have to believe that. Even now, seeing what they've done, I believe there's goodness in them that's been buried by greed and fear. Maybe prison will strip away the corruption and let them find themselves again. Maybe someday they'll understand why I had to do this. Maybe someday they'll thank me. Jennifer closed the journal, tears streaming down her face. She still had hope for us. Even knowing everything, she still had hope. That's what love is, I said. Not pretending the people you love are perfect, but believing they're capable of growth, even when they're at their worst. Do you think you'll ever forgive Michael and Sarah? I thought about it. I don't know, maybe, if they show real change like you have. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, Jennifer. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. Your mother taught me that loving someone means holding them accountable. I'm grateful you held me accountable, Jennifer said. It saved my life, Dad. Prison saved my life. I was becoming someone horrible, and I couldn't even see it. We sat in silence for a while, listening to birds sing in the trees around us. Your mother left me a P.S. in her letter, I finally said. She said I should get a dog after she was gone. Jennifer smiled through her tears. Are you going to? Actually, I adopted one last week, a golden retriever from the shelter. I named her Catherine. Mom would love that. I think she would too. As we walked back to our cars, Jennifer paused. Dad, can I ask you something? Do you ever wonder if you should have warned us? Before the arrests? Given us a chance to turn ourselves in? Every day, I admitted. Every single day. Do you regret not warning us? I thought carefully before answering. No, because warning you would have been about protecting you from consequences, not about helping you become better people. Your mother understood that. Sometimes the most loving thing a parent can do is step back and let their children face what they've done. You wouldn't be who you are now if I'd protected you from that. Jennifer hugged me tight. Thank you for loving me enough to let me fall. Thank you for getting back up. Looking back now, I understand what Catherine was trying to teach me through her final investigation. She was showing me that justice and love aren't opposites, that accountability can be an act of love, that sometimes the hardest thing a parent can do is let their children experience the consequences of their choices. My children defrauded innocent people out of millions of dollars. They destroyed families, bankrupted businesses, and likely contributed to their mother's death. Those are unforgivable crimes. But my children themselves? They're not unforgivable. Michael and Sarah may never change. They may spend their lives bitter and resentful, playing the victim. That's their choice. And I can't force growth on anyone. But Jennifer changed. She owned her crimes, felt genuine remorse, and is actively trying to undo the harm she caused. That's all any of us can do. Acknowledge what we've done, take responsibility, and try to be better going forward. If you ever find yourself in a position like mine, discovering that someone you love has done something terrible, please remember this. Protecting them from consequences isn't love. It's enabling. Real love means wanting them to become the best version of themselves, even if that means watching them suffer first. And if you're the one who has done wrong, listen. When people you love try to hold you accountable, don't waste years in denial and bitterness like Michael and Sarah. Own what you've done. Make amends where possible. Change who you are. It's never too late to become someone better. Catherine spent the last year of her life fighting for justice at great personal cost. She could have looked away, protected our children, pretended she didn't see what was happening. But she loved truth more than comfort. I hope I'm honoring her memory by telling this story, by showing that justice isn't about revenge or cruelty. It's about accountability, consequences, and the hope that people can grow from their mistakes. I'm 72 years old now, and I've learned that life is complicated. People you love can do terrible things. Criminals can show remorse and change. Justice and mercy can coexist. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is let someone you love face the consequences of their actions, because that's the only way they'll ever truly change. Catherine knew that. And now, finally, so do I.